Hey everybody, welcome to episode 31 of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're coming to you from the, once again, very warm Denver, Colorado.
Like
60 degrees today.
Yeah.
In January.
I mean, it was 30 the past couple days, so...
It was like 19 when I had to go to work at 5 in the morning last week, so
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I personally think that's disgusting.
I'm fine just because it melted all the stupid ice around my apartment building.
That's probably a valid point.
I'm fine if it goes back down now. I just wanted it to go up, so I wouldn't have to worry about slipping on that shit.
All the ice goes away.
Yes.
Hooray.
Although I will complain about warmer weather in Denver this time of year, I actually don't care that much what the weather down here does, so long as the weather in the mountains stays acceptable.
And it's been good, right?
It's been pretty good. We've been on a nice little dry streak. It looks like there was a chance for a little bit of snow this weekend. It's actually, I just looked, it's not as good as it was supposed to be. They've downgraded the snowcast for this weekend, which is
disastrous.
Unfortunate. So it has been 2 weeks since we sat down to record.
We've had 2 weeks of events that we haven't talked about on a podcast.
That's true.
Yes. Yeah, essentially, we knew we were going to have some issues meeting up this past weekend because my girlfriend was in town, and she flew out at like 9 p.m. on Monday night, which is smack dab in the middle of our recording time frame.
I mean, there's Uber. I don't understand what the problem was.
Oh, yeah, that would not have went over well. Not at all. So we...
I can't say goodbye, Megan. We're talking.
Yeah, we're have fun.
Yeah.
Fly safe. Bye-bye.
Bye. Just pat her on the back.
But be quiet. Shh, we're recording.
But yeah, so it's been a couple weeks. So there's all kinds of stuff that's going on. We've had 2 game nights, two of the Wednesday game nights. We had our 4-year anniversary for the game group, which was nuts.
Was it? I wouldn't know. I was playing cribbage with old people, so...
Which also sounds nuts.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I'll just go ahead and say one quick thing, which I think is humorous. I have an app called Cribbage with Grandpas on my phone, and one thing that's interesting is that the old person, the grandpa, says really corny things like, that scores 4, or that makes 4, and there's no more. So stupid crap like that. So I remember playing that for a while, and I was like, I guess they just decided to make him say that. I started playing cribbage with my grandpa, and he was just like, that makes 6, and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, oh my God, I did not realize that app was so accurate. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think
Tested on real grandparents.
Yes, apparently.
I think you texted me that in the middle of game night, and I just started laughing. I was like, glad Zach's having a good time playing cribbage with his grandpa.
What was game night before the anniversary?
Wits End.
Wits
Yes.
End. Okay.
Yeah, so Wits End was, I don't remember dates now. 2 Wednesdays ago.
I mean, yeah.
And then we had the game night on Saturday at Barrels Beer Co.
It was the 18th at Wits End.
Yes.
The 21st of the anniversary and the 25th for Fiction.
Fiction.
Yep, and then we will be back at the start of the month at D-Bolt this upcoming Wednesday.
2 days.
When this episode releases.
Yeah.
Then
So-
everyone can come to D-Bolt and drink.
Yeah.
And play ping
But
pong.
only after they've listened to the episode because they have to give everyone the password.
That's true.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, sure, why not? Start doing that. Uh-huh. We'll get a whole lot more listeners if we force everybody that comes to game night
Or a
to
whole lot
listen.
less game
People
night
at Game
people.
Night. Win-win?
Yeah, there you go. Because holy crap, Fiction was packed to the brim.
Over 50 people.
Yeah, and this
every
is
table, every seat.
Yeah, because this is on the east side of Denver. Normally, we get a fewer amount of people.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of people that are like, as soon as they see Fiction, they're like, well, I guess I'll go next week.
Yep.
And so we usually expect 25 to 35. And 50 plus is ridiculous. And, it's winter, so nobody was outside, so everybody was inside, and all the table... You said all but one table was taken by game night people.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there was one table that was there playing games that wasn't there for game night that just got assimilated. Like
Yes.
they had game night people sit down and play their games with them.
Resistance is futile.
Yep.
You will now join us.
That's what the Borg say.
Yep.
You will now join us.
So I know they say the resistance is futile, but I don't know any other. I don't really
That's
watch
fine.
Star Trek.
It's fine.
My favorite
It's
Star
not
Trek.
fine, but it's fine.
My favorite Star Trek's the J.J. Abrams film.
Which one?
Probably the first one.
Okay, good.
Good.
I was hoping he would say the second one so
Yeah.
we could just beat him to death.
I mean, I didn't hate it.
didn't hate it either. A lot of people hated it a lot more than us.
Yeah.
But
My favorite Star Trek of all time, not movies, is definitely Voyager.
that's bold opinion.
This is a strong opinion.
It's going bold.
Was Threshold your favorite episode?
Oh God, there was like an anniversary of that. There was
That's
an
like-
anniversary Twitter post of like 14 years ago today. Threshold was aired on this date.
Apparently, that's the worst episode of that series, and a lot.
The worst episode of Star Trek.
Yes, and a lot of people feel that Voyager is the worst of the.
What was the episode?
It's the one
Does
where
anybody remember?
Janeway and Paris get de-evolved into like fish creatures, and then mate, and then there's like they have babies, and then they unde-evolve them. It's bad.
That sounds horrible.
Sounds pretty bad.
It's really. I think that's the one that's the Threshold. They had an interview with the guy that wrote it, and he was like, "Yeah, I wrote a lot of Star Trek episodes, and everyone only remembers me for that one, and it was bad."
Gotcha. Speaking of Star Trek, Peter Capaldi is leaving Doctor Who. So
Yeah,
Just-
I haven't watched the last couple
yeah,
seasons.
just
but-
figured I'd put that out there.
Yeah, speaking of Star Trek,
Yes, exactly.
Doctor Who.
It means exactly nothing.
I know. It's fine.
That's fine.
I can honestly say I've never watched a single episode of Doctor Who.
I don't think you'd like
has
it.
zero interest for me.
Yeah, I know you've always had a hatred of British people, so I just don't.
I
think,
love British people.
I
What are you
don't-
talking about?
No, no.
Where are you getting this?
Off air.
Yeah,
It's a
just
different
off air.
story. All of those British racial slurs
Yes,
that I don't know of.
But somehow they're really racist. It's weird.
You call them crumpets or something. Like
Spotted tea, my ass.
spotted dicks.
I don't like tea. I love fish and chips though.
Yeah, there
That's
you
very
go.
Britishy.
But you always call them fish and fries.
Do not. I appreciate their use
Fish
of
and
America.
freedom fries.
Yeah.
I appreciate their use of the word Q. I wish Americans used Q more often.
The first time, like
They do need to stop putting the letter U in a bunch of words that don't need the letter U, though.
color favorite.
Yeah, yeah.
But Q,
Aluminium.
Armor.
Well, yeah, you know what's actually funny is I actually looked that up because they're like, Americans say aluminium wrong because we say aluminum. Is it because we literally spell it differently than they do?
Yeah.
So, but for Q, the first like 5 years that I knew about that word, I hadn't heard it pronounced, and I was just like, "Queer."
Oh,
Q-U-E-U-E. It's cool.
Cool.
all right. So I'll share. If we're sharing grammar embarrassments.
We already know about Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah,
Continue
I don't
on.
care about that one. I also say nuclear a lot instead of nuclear, despite the fact that I was a nuclear mechanic on ballistic missile submarines in the Navy and operated a nuclear reactor. I still say nuclear, so that won't change. No, so
It's just a callback to your favorite
Yeah.
president, right?
Sure. Anyway, as a child, here in the States, anyway, I don't know if this is like this in any other English-speaking countries. I learned a lot of my reading and pronunciation things with phonetics. Like you look at a word and certain letter combinations make certain sounds,
Yes.
yada, yada, yada. So
Always works in English.
I used to get in really big fights and arguments. This is one of my dad's favorite stories to bring up about me and my like being too smart for my own good. I used to like get in like fights with him when I was a kid because I was convinced that Jules Verne wrote a very gripping novel, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Legumes. Like
Use.
Yeah.
No M, just Leagues.
legumes.
Not 20,000 beans under that sea.
I know. That's what I wanted. He traveled a lot of beans.
Yep.
Yeah. So
The magical fruit.
Indeed.
that also got me in trouble as an adult with the beer Lagunitas. I used to say
Lagunitas.
Lagunitas until I had some hipster in San Francisco throw a goddamn shit fit for me saying Lagunitas IPA, ordering a Lagunitas IPA. He's like, it's pronounced Lagunitas. And
And
then
like the spit coming out of his beard.
Oh, yeah.
When he was saying that.
Did he have to adjust his suspenders while he yelled at you?
Was he on a unicycle while he was saying this?
the bar was literally a big sheet of plywood set on 2 empty kegs with 4 kegs of beer in ice buckets behind them.
Nice.
Like it was, and that's where the bartender was pouring beers, who got really upset at me ordering a Lagunitas when it's pronounced Lagunitas.
That sounds
And then-
like a really shady place that's open after 2 a.m.
Yeah. So apparently me saying Lagunitas offended a hipster bartender, all because of the American public education system that taught me to pronounce things phonetically.
Yep.
So,
Well, every time you open your mouth, you hurt our souls.
It's
so.
true.
wow.
Just right there. It's
All right, well, you guys have fun with the rest of the episode.
it's
mean,
fine.
I'm
We're
gonna
good.
cry.
Yeah.
I'm already dead inside, so it doesn't affect me much anymore.
All right, let's talk about some games that we've played.
Okay.
Let's get back on topic.
So I played Scythe
Okay.
and got crushed inhumanely.
How many players?
There was 3 players.
Okay.
I got like 12 points. Winner got 55.
How did you only get 12 points? in that?
Because
Is
Paul-
it money points in that?
Yeah. That's how bad I got crushed.
I was not involved in the game, but I witnessed it. It's true. It was brutal.
Paul got the thing that
Did he crush like multiple people in games?
well, it was Ant's
Yes.
first game.
Okay.
And so he didn't go after Ant. He went after me.
Okay.
And then he had the race that lets you take out other people's workers without taking popularity hits. He got behind my lines and was just able to smash workers. And I couldn't get enough power to get him out because he was maxed out on power and I was super low. So I had to like build up power turn after turn after turn. Paul got 6 stars out.
Before anyone else got a single star on the board.
saw
I got
that.
1 star and Ant got 1 star.
Yeah, I saw that and I was just like, what is going on?
Yeah, he had like 2 combat, all workers, a whole bunch of other stuff.
I know at one point, like towards the end, I walked by and like Paul was the only player with stars. Like nobody else had
But
stars.
then
It was ridiculous.
he also played Food Chain,
Food Chain
Mag-
and
and
destroyed. He beat them so bad they didn't even finish.
Adrian, it seems like you and me are the only people that can play him and not just get wiped.
Wrecked. Yeah.
Played Chaos in the Old World with Ant. I really like that game. I played Nurgle and got fucked
Which
for
one's
4
Nurgle?
turns. It's the disease people. Ant won that one.
Gotcha.
I didn't care for that game the one time I played it.
I like
I don't
it.
know if it was it was only one play, so I'm not willing to judge it because I try not to judge too much after just one play.
It's Eric Lang.
2 plays. Once you get your second play, you're
yeah.
just
If the second
boom.
one is as bad as the first one, then yeah, it kind of starts to really solidify that opinion.
It's
But-
a game where other people can totally fuck you.
Yeah.
But there's not really much randomness besides the events. Then I played Terraforming Mars and almost won. It was a 5-player game with Corporate Era. It was the longest game I had played. Probably the least tiles on the map by the time we actually finished. Ant beat me by like 4 points.
Which corporation were you?
I was the plant people.
Oh, Ecoline?
Yep. I had a lot of plants. I had a lot of cards. Everyone was like, Jeff, you're going to ruin everyone. But Ant had some cards that had points on them.
Gotcha.
That got him there. And then we played Werewolf.
You're missing something.
What?
I beat you at Hero Realms.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was a game night.
Oh, you're
This is
going all the way back to
anniversary.
game night.
This is anniversary.
Yeah, no, I beat you at Hero Realms.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, you were the fighter and I was the cleric, and
Yep.
you murdered me.
Oh yeah, I got real smashy.
Yeah.
my big walking stick kept coming up
Wait,
every
who
single
were you?
time.
The
I was the
fighter.
warrior.
Oh, when we played that 3-player game,
I was the wizard against that one, though.
Yeah.
I didn't pick the wizard against the fighter this time.
yeah, I was the fighter. I just destroyed with that guy. Did you have the promo?
Yeah.
ones?
Yep.
Yeah,
So we had
Those seem super OP.
I don't know this. I don't know the rule for putting those promos in there besides just throwing.
I
them
think
in
you
there.
just throw them in there, but I don't know. The warrior one is just like, here's a lot more damage
Here's
for
like
you.
8. No, it's not 8.
It's just 3,
extra-
but then it can also heal you too.
Depends on how much damage you do. You
Yeah.
just get a bunch more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, because that's a different weapon that gives you the more damage for
No.
doing a certain amount. No, the sword is the one where if you knock out the
Champions,
champions,
yes.
you regain health.
Yeah.
And so there were times when I had to wipe out like 3 of your champions and heal back way up, and then you're just like, well, shit.
Yep. Yeah. Hero Realms is real good. I really like those classes a lot.
Yeah.
That campaign deck should hopefully be here pretty soon.
I definitely want to try that.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
And then played Werewolf. And how many people did we have in Werewolf?
Oh my god, way more than I realized when I agreed to play.
Was it 25?
Like
I heard-
30.
Oh, it was
30-ish. Yeah. I got killed night 2.
Nice.
I was the drunk, so I didn't get to mutate into whatever I turn into.
You just died in a drunken stupor.
yes.
I lasted a decent amount of time in there, but I ultimately died. I was just a mason. I kept my 2 mason friends alive for a while because the werewolves weren't doing a good job of like, once you know that somebody's good, you should kill them. If you're the werewolves, kill all known good guys. Like once the group knows, kill them.
Yeah.
Kill
and then
them
the
fast.
seer wasn't doing a good job at finding the werewolves.
No.
It
Gotcha.
went down to 3 people. The lone wolf, a regular werewolf, and 1 other person. And the lone wolf did not point to kill the werewolf during the hanging phase.
Otherwise, they would have won.
Otherwise, Heather would have won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really shitty. So, like I said, I was the mason. There were 3 masons. The other 2 masons were lovers. And so when one of them died, I lost the other Mason. Like, they both just died.
That's
immediately.
rough.
I was like, well, fuck.
I mean, it makes sense. You spend a lot of time in the same order. You get, feelings develop. I get it.
Thematically, it makes a lot of sense.
Indeed.
Then the abomination that is a werewolf and a human. It's just...
Yeah.
That's my
No.
favorite combination.
I know. I've won once as that.
Or the
so.
wolf cub and someone else.
Yep. So I've in the 2 weeks since we recorded, I played a bunch of games. A few highlights. I've gotten a couple more plays of the Gallerist in. I am still undefeated at that game, which means that I fucking love that game.
I won. The first one.
Yeah, the first one he won.
I won.
Because you guys are doing it wrong. Remember, you didn't count those
I didn't
things.
get my
you're
celebrity
right.
points.
Yeah.
I won the first game.
You're right. So I'm not undefeated at that game. Fuck it, I hate it.
The
Burn
first time you played it, you were undefeated. Like, it's just, the entire thing's been a lie.
it. Burn it down. Fuck it.
Throw it in the garbage.
Well, maybe I'll have better luck with Vinos.
Yeah.
No, I do actually still love Gallerist, even despite the
I would-
fact that apparently I lost one.
Does Venus have a solo mode?
does.
And I was going to say, if you just play that, you might be undefeated, but
Boom.
you might lose. And
Hey now.
All-Star. Get your game on and go play.
Glad I'm dead inside.
There's
seriously.
So there is a video on YouTube that's All-Star, but every time he says the word All-Star, it speeds up.
Oh, God. Oh,
So
God.
it's like, hey now, you're an All-Star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, it's an All-Star. Like, it just starts going faster and faster and faster.
No.
There's also one I saw that's the Bee movie that does that. Every time someone says the word bee, it's like 8 minutes long.
Jesus.
All right. Jerry Seinfeld's greatest creation.
Yes.
Anyway, back to games that I've played. I played Gallerist. It took way longer than I wanted to at the tabletop day. I'm not going to talk too much about tabletop day because I think we're going to talk about that a little
Anniversary
bit more.
day?
Anniversary. Yeah. Ooh. 4-year anniversary. I did on other game nights though. I got to play Star Realms actually on the table for the first time, not in the app.
Have you never played the card game?
No,
before?
you only played it on the app.
I'd
Oh,
only
wow.
played the app.
Okay.
And I liked it. I really thought I was going to lose. I was getting real close to losing. And then I ended up coming back and sneaking out a victory.
Which one did you like better?
Oh,
Hero Realms
I
or Star
think
Realms?
Hero Realms.
Is it because of the character packs?
Yeah, it felt a little bit more like unique. Like I had a character.
Yeah.
I do still really like Star Realms though. If I say I like Hero Realms more, it's not by much.
Right. I mean, they're both great games, and
Yep.
it's nice that they only take 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, they play real quick.
Expansions I have for Star Realms really changed that game too.
Yeah.
Last game night, I didn't get to play a whole lot. We got interviewed.
Yep.
Which was pretty
For a
exciting.
magazine,
Yep.
Metropolitan State University of Denver. Magazine
And-
coming out in March.
Yep. And it was great that it happened when Faction was packed.
Fiction.
You
What
said
did I say?
Faction.
Faction, sorry.
Yes. So they came and they were blown away. They sent a reporter who did an interview, and they had a photographer who took a bunch of pictures, and they're supposed to at some point send me a link to those pictures, which will be great to have some professional photos of game night.
Yep. Instead of our photos.
And it was packed. It was very impressive. I had a really good time there. We played a little bit of tiny epic western, which you'll hear some more about here.
We played
a little bit.
Santorini.
Yep, we
Four-player
played Santorini with the reporter guy who was interviewing us. He at least had experience with games and stuff and played games outside of game
Lot
night,
of
so that was kind of cool.
D&D.
Yes.
Yeah, he seemed mostly D&D, but he mentioned a few other more mainstream hobby games, so he at least wasn't blindsided.
Yeah.
And he is probably listening to this.
And
Hopefully.
you guys won.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you have beat Zach and I more recently too.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
You've been beating us
Because I was
alarmingly regularly.
You guys kept
You've
throwing
got a
me
streak. You've got a streak of 2.
Yeah. Woo. You guys kept throwing me some low balls on that, Adrian moved into that one spot that made it so they didn't immediately lose.
Yep.
Here's the one thing that is also going to make it so they can't immediately lose. And then you guys lost.
Yep.
But the game that I want to talk about real briefly here before I'm done with my portion of the banter, I'm sure Zach might have some stuff of his own, but I got The Colonists, and I've played 2 games. I've played a solo game with One Era that was really cool. It plays really quick as a solo game. Turns out when you can just do 6 turns in a row for every year, it just kind of moves.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it solo, and there's still several other games I'd rather play solo because they present more of a challenge than this one.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. And then last night, Zach and Paul and I played a 3-player game through 2 eras.
Which took, because we were learning, all of us technically were learning 3.5 hours, 4 hours.
It felt like it ran a little long there at the end.
Yes,
but,
it did.
But overall, like it went smooth. Like it was definitely early. Like it took Paul a little bit to kind of wrap his head around a couple other things there. There were a couple little things that slowed it down kind of in that first era, but the second era went real quick.
Yeah, besides, this definitely is a game that can be prone to AP.
Yes,
but outside of that, there
were a couple very egregious moments that at the end of the first year, Paul took the first player and was like, all right, Paul, well, now you get to place these 3 tiles that have been sitting out here the whole game. And like, you could just physically see the gears grind to a halt.
Yep.
And then for me, like I was the last person to go at the end of the second era. And it was the same thing. It was like, oh God.
Yep.
But
it was the last couple turns with you and Paul, I could definitely see you guys, and you're just like you were talking to yourself for like a minute straight. And you're just, oh, if I do this, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I think that if we had played the first time we had played within a 4-player 4-era game,
oh God,
I would have gone insane, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no way we would have done that though. That's, you know,
you don't know.
If I had jumped off a cliff without a parachute, I would have broken my legs. Well, I would hope you
that's all your definition. Yeah, I mean, that's also what is a cliff?
Is. Yeah,
exactly. What's a cliff?
But
at the end of every sidewalk, technically a cliff.
It was a close game.
It was. I won, and then Adrian and Paul were tied with 4 points behind me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we were all
tight.
Just right there. It was a very tight game, very close. We all kind of identified things were on that last round where we were like looking at it and we're like, oh, I can do that. And that'll get me a decent amount of points. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was good. I really like it.
I like it too. So one thing that has there's like 9 different colonies that you use 4 of during the game that you can build like embassies to, and they change how certain things get played. Because you normally have one steward, that's like the main board. That's your guy that moves there. There's one of them, the envoy colony, that can get another one, so it can help with blocking more. But like those change how the game works a lot. Mm-hmm. And so I like that variability in there.
Well, then even your initial starting tiles for the starting colony, they're always set up not randomly. They come out randomly.
Yeah, it's randomly in there because it's not a worker placement; it's a worker movement. Where the tiles are in relation to each other
makes a huge difference.
Yes.
Okay.
But one thing I do want to say is because like that the colonies can change how much player interaction is in the game. Mm-hmm. Because like I said, the envoy one, there were a lot more of the stewards out, meaning it was easier to block people, and you're like, oh, shit, I have to move around that. Whereas there's another one called the Lord's Colony that I think the level 2, you ignore the fees that you have to pay, and then it's just like, oh, now it's just an optimization game. So
yeah, you can't block me anymore.
Interesting.
Did you ever get your second pawn in that game?
No.
Yeah, so Paul and I both had 2 stewards out, and Zach had his one. And then there was even the second tier of one of the other ones, if we'd gotten there, would have let you put another thing on the board that could have affected how much resources cost. There's a solid amount of variability in just the initial setup that will drastically change how those games play out.
Yeah, but
that's cool.
It's definitely a game if you do not like very low player interaction, you're going to hate this game.
Yeah, David's not going to want to play
David
this game.
He would jump off said cliff.
Yes.
Then play the game, so.
Correct.
He would rather break all of his legs than play the colonists.
All 2 of them, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that...
You never know.
That is a game that is pretty much 100%. That purchase was, 90% driven by hearing really good things from a variety of other podcasters, board game people, and then me and Zach being at the game store and Zach basically giving me that last little nudge.
Yeah. Come on, Adrian. Look, they got that copy. They got that copy. Well, he was like, he looked in there and he's just like, oh man, they didn't have a copy. Oh, no, Adrian, it's right up there. It's right there. It's right there. Just grab it.
I found it. Here, hold it. Feel it in your arms.
Just touch it.
Just touch it. Yeah, touch it. That also came with a crap ton of cardboard too that we had to pop out.
Yeah,
it's still an inorganized / vaguely organized mess. I got to find a better way to store that.
Planos.
Yep. Speaking of spending too much money on games, I have a pre-order for Gloomhaven in.
Ooh.
That'll be here end of February, early March. Also coming with a copy of Jump Drive, that Race for the
Nice.
Galaxy game. So
I'm really excited to try that out.
Yeah.
I would love for a good intro to race, although I've heard that it's not as good as San Juan.
Yeah, well, because, they definitely are. There's a lot more similar to that, where this one just seems like much more of an actual race than even Race for the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So
Well, we'll see. Zach, any games you want to talk about that you've played recently?
the only thing that I played that you guys did not play was Cribbage at my grandparents' house, and Mexican Train.
when we went to Jenna's birthday thing, we played Fuse
We did play Fuse.
and lost and then won.
Yep.
And then we played Secret Hitler.
And
I shot Manny in the face.
You shot Hitler.
And then I shot Hitler. That was a good first shot.
Yep. And then Telestrations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love Telestrations.
Yep.
So I have a whole game to talk about of Blood Bowl.
Yeah, Bloody Minute. Forgot all about letting you do that because you had your championship round and everything, right?
Indeed, the most accurate of championship rounds, because it's still 3 rounds from the end, but it's really the last game that matters for who's in first and second place.
Awesome. Before you jump into that, then, we are going to cut away here for just a moment because we have a guest promo thing for the KIL, which stands for what, Jeff?
Karak Ancor Invitational League.
Yeah, so
Nailed it.
the Kill League.
Yes, Kill, Denver, Invitational.
So, yeah, so here is a special word from them.
Hey, Blood Bowlers, this is Asterix, captain of the Immortal Pillagers, 2-time champion of Denver's greatest Blood Bowl league, the Kill. I want to welcome you all to the first preseason tournament, the Karak Core Open, held at Total Escape Games in Broomfield, just outside of Denver, Colorado, on March 11th. Doors at 9 a.m. It's a 1.15 million gold piece buy-in. For more info, check out the Mile High Game Guys website or look up our group on Facebook at Denver Kill. That's K-I-L, Kill. And remember, winning is fun, but it's always better to cheers over the dead bodies of the Reichland Renegades.
All right, well, now that we've heard from Kill, Jeff, how about you tell us about this championship round?
Absolutely. All right, so this was the championship game for Season 3 of the Karak Ancor Invitational League, the Kill League. It was between David and Andrew, the Pittsburgh Clearers, and the Raptors Airy. That would be a Chaos Warriors team and a Dark Elf team. 26,000 fans showed up for this game. It was an even split. There was no fame. Setup was nice weather. The kickoff was a weather change, which bounced the ball twice and out of bounds, which then let David put the ball on whatever player he wished. So he gave it to his number 1 Chaos Warrior, Mean Joe Scream, who has plus agility, so he's a very good ball carrier. First turn, LC Gruesome, his Minotaur, throws a few blocks to no avail. Here's a hint for the rest of the game. There's a lot of no avail about to happen. Turn 1, Dark Elves don't do much. Pittsburgh goes conservative on the movement. Ernie Slaughter throws a skull and knocks himself out for the rest of the half.
It's a great opening right there.
Yeah. End of turn 2, the Witch Elves try and put themselves into position and fail a dodge, making a turnover into turn 3. The Minotaur, LC Gruesome, Wild Animals. That is where he just stands there because he's really angry and doesn't do anything for the rest of the turn.
He just can't get all that anger out. It just boils inside him.
He wants to murder you so bad that he stands there screaming for a turn. Exactly.
And he just like, okay, I'm just going to walk by.
Yep, pretty much. Turn 3, the number 12 on the Airy team, Eagle, injures number 5, Beastman, smashes his knee, giving him a niggling injury, also known as "you are now retired." Turn 4, the Minotaur goes to bash Peregrine, his star Witch Elf with agility 5. He throws double skulls, knocking himself down twice. He loner rerolls into a double push. This happens again and again that game. He cannot put that Witch Elf down. Next season, we want to put bounties. She's getting a fucking bounty. The Raptors KO one of David's star Chaos Warriors, Hack Lambert, number 2. He is out for the rest of the half. Turn 5, the end zone is close. Chaos dodge to get into the end zone. Fail, dropping the ball, causing a turnover. This is where it turns bad for Pittsburgh. Turn 5, Peregrine the Witch Elf with the ball. Beastman number 10, Rod Bloodson with wrestle and strip ball, goes to the backfield to prepare for the elves coming into the Pittsburgh end zone. Next turn, the Minotaur gives it another go to get Peregrine down, and once again pushes her twice. He just kind of likes to cuddle. Turn 7, the elves bash Chaos hard. Pittsburgh is losing players quickly. At this point, he was down 4 players off the field. Turn 8, the Minotaur has to make some nasty dodge rolls to try and get to the ball carrier. Fails the 5+ dodge, goes down, does not break armor, so he'll survive this half. Peregrine scores on the final turn of the half. Raptors Airy 0-1 against Pittsburgh. Second half, second kickoff of the game. Perfect defense. Nothing really happened because those guys were already in perfect position anyways. So turn 1, there was a Pittsburgh setup error. Peregrine the Witch Elf can block twice, which means the Witch Elf then knocked him into the crowd surfing the Beastman first thing straight into a knockout. At this point, Chaos is being conservative about where the ball goes because the elves can have quite the passing game, because in turn 2, the Witch passes that ball to complete number 10, Blackiston. I assume that is some sort of raptor/eagle because that's all of his names. The Blitzer on turn 2 scores 0-2 elves. Not looking good for Pittsburgh because he keeps losing guys over and over. Turn 2 for the Chaos team. Pitch invasion on the kickoff.
Oh,
Yep.
Pitch invasions are probably one of my favorite things that ever happens in Blood Bowl.
The crowd stuns 3 Chaos players, including the Minotaur.
Jesus Christ.
Only 1 elf player goes down. Not looking good for Chaos with 3 guys face down at the beginning of the kickoff. Turn 3, the elves pressure the ball carrier, making a super cage around the ball. Next turn, Chaos passes the ball with completion using a reroll. Turn 4, Raptors position around the ball. Minotaur's having some issues breaking the elf armor. He's knocking them down, not getting them out of the game. Turn 5, Chaos moves closer to the Raptors end zone, gets surrounded. Chaos pass again. Ball still only at midfield. Turn 6, 3 turns left. More dodges happening, all succeeding. The Raptors getting closer to the ball. Bad luck on the blocks for Chaos. Turn 7, the ball goes to the elves. Chaos take a risk on getting through to the elves, putting them in dangerous crowd surf position with both a Chaos Warrior and Minotaur going into the crowd. Thankfully, they did not rip off that Minotaur's dick and cut his head off with it.
That's good.
Yep, he ended up just getting KO'd. Turn 8, Raptors score. Once again, 0-3, Raptors Airy. Final turn 8, Chaos gets a turn to smash and gets a whole lot of nothing.
Ooh.
Ending the game, the championship game, 0-3, Raptors Airy. Andrew,
That is a huge score.
that is the second largest score difference in kill history. Only surpassed by the Reichland Renegades, 4-0.
Oh, man.
It was a good game at the very beginning, but David not being able to make those die rolls and getting real unlucky on certain things. It was a good game overall. Couldn't get that witch out because that witch, there's 1 die roll that you can even do it, but just couldn't get it.
Gotcha.
Andrew got real lucky. He only rolled almost all of his die rolls he needs anymore are 2+. He only
wow.
rolled 1-1 the whole game. That was turn 2 of the first half.
That's ridiculous.
It was. I was there the whole time. If anyone wants a preview of my note sheet I took, maybe I'll post that on Twitter.
Yeah.
So you can see whatever that nightmare was.
Oh, that was...
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing. You're like, hey, Zach, you want to just transcribe this real quick? And I was like, I have no idea what I'm looking at.
Yep. Is there an owl? Is that a hieroglyphic? Is that... So it's looking like Raptors Airy is going to take first, most likely with the ease of both of their end of season, unless something disastrous happens. We're looking at the Raptors Airy as the champion of season 3.
With you solidly in the middle, right?
I am literally dead in the middle at 5th out of 10.
Get it together.
Either way, you're nowhere near the Jeffy.
Yeah,
That's good.
you've avoided
Yeah,
the Jeffy
10.
this year.
I'm 5th out of 10. Yeah, the guy in last is 0-5-2. So
Sounds like
0-2-5.
Ouch.
He's new. He's very nice.
Sounds like the
So this
Jeff's
is-
record of previous
This was your 3rd season, right, Jeff?
Yes.
So has it been the same people with new, like you said, this guy's new. Has anybody dropped out? Has anybody been like, no, fuck this league, I'm out? Or has it just always grown?
Yes. There's been one, I think only one, that has dropped out.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know Ant's really excited about next year. You guys have a bunch of people who are interested. You're switching to the new rule set.
Yep.
It's going to be really exciting.
The new rule set's not too crazy, but we might do 2 divisions next year.
Oh, that's cool.
Or next season.
Yeah,
Then
sounds
have
like you
yourself
might
a
have
Super
enough
Bowl.
people, yeah.
Yeah. We'll probably do legit playoffs,
Nice.
which will be
Superb Owl.
Yeah.
I think legit playoffs would be pretty awesome. That way you don't have the like third to last game of the season be the quote unquote championship.
Yeah.
Yeah. David tried his hardest, but that last half was real rough. He was short so many guys that there wasn't much he could do.
Yeah, he tried so hard and got so far, but just in the end, it didn't even matter. So,
Like, I'm not even going to acknowledge what that was.
that's fine. That's fine.
He ended up
I got the look from Adrian. That's enough.
2 for 2 on this episode of sneaking in really shitty lyrics.
he ended up just passing the ball around to try and get some star player points. The nice
Gotcha.
thing about Andrew, when he's winning, he won't smash you.
That's
into the
good.
round. Yeah, he'll just end his turn at like a reasonable point.
That's good.
Awesome. Well, if you are in the Denver area and you are interested in maybe joining up with this Blood Bowl League, feel free to shoot us an email over at emails@milehighgameguys.com, and Jeff will get you in contact with Ant, who runs that league, and hopefully get you involved, because Ant loves Blood Bowl. He always wants more people to play Blood Bowl.
Passionate.
Super passionate. So when does your new season start, Jeff?
March 11th, I want to say.
So sorry.
I believe we are going to host a standalone tournament for that day, and then we are going to be beginning the season 4 after that, where everyone will be playing fresh teams. Then after that season is finished, season 5, I can then go back to my season 3 team if I wish, or continue on with my new team.
Gotcha.
So I'm assuming what you were about to ask there, Zach. You don't have any more games until then?
I have 3 more games.
Oh, so we'll have 3 more editions of the Bloody Minute?
Indeed.
That won't matter at all.
That won't
because
really
the season's
matter
already
except
decided.
for like mid-placement.
Gotcha.
Mocking Jeff for winning and or losing. Because
Yes.
we mock
Way
you
to
for
lose
both.
when it doesn't even matter.
Yep. Yeah, it's basically there's no draft position that we have to worry about.
Okay.
So it's all championship stuff or awards, etc.
Gotcha.
That only Ant knows.
Right on. Well, let's get on to some news
Yeah.
and Kickstarters.
Sure.
It's been a little while.
It's been
Thank
a while.
you for sticking with us
Yep.
here, everyone.
So first bit of news, probably most important, is GenCon tickets are now on sale.
Fuck yeah.
Get your 4-day badge.
$90 right now,
90-ish.
was it like $11 to ship it or something like that, or
just
pick it up there?
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you right now, it is 100% worth the extra 10 or so bucks to ship it, because the line to pick up your passes at Gen Con is ridiculous.
It depends on the day, depends on the time, but if you're there fucking Thursday at noon,
Yeah, if you're trying to-
in a hour and a half line.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you're trying to get in early.
But
Yeah,
if you can pick it up
cool.
Wednesday, and then you're fine.
Yep.
Dice Forge has all of its major previews out now, so you
That-
can see what that game looks like.
First of all, it looks beautiful.
Yes.
Like
Really?
all that art looks really nice.
A lot of pieces.
Yes. The dice look to be chunkier too. And it's basically, like I said, it's a
Dice crafting?
Yeah, dice crafting, like card crafting, but for dice.
Right.
There was something called Rattlebones that did this before.
And there's been a few Lego things
Yeah,
that
but
have things
yes,
like that.
Yeah, and it's the same sort of thing. And assuming that the quality of it is good and how it pops in and out, it looks to be great. And in fact, it's weird. It's like you have the main board like on your table, and then part of the board is also on top of the box.
So-
I don't know how that works yet, but
So my initial reaction to this was, screw that noise. I don't like dice games.
yeah.
Which
Randomness?
isn't entirely true, because I actually I love Farkle, which is like one of the most random bullshit
Yes.
dice games you could imagine. But the more I think about it, the being able to craft your dice, well, now all of a sudden my dice isn't like super random because I can adjust the odds.
Yep.
And so I'm intrigued by the dice crafting. I probably won't pick it up myself, but I would like to play it if you end up with
Yep.
it.
And it's by Asmodee. So I don't think they have announced a time for it yet.
No, not yet. But you can see what it looks like and read some.
Yeah, they just did a press release of it, and it looks really good.
Yeah.
Like art-wise, it looks great.
Yeah.
Our final piece of news, and most important of the day, PETA wants Games Workshop.
Oh yeah, that's
and Warhammer 40,000 to lose the fur.
Yep.
They want 40K Space Wolves to lose the wolf skins on the miniatures.
Oh, I'm glad you snuck that in there on us, Jeff.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about that. That was good.
Yep.
Space Wolves, of course, are the Space Marine chapter. They live on Fenris, and there are giant dire wolves that they ride and also use their fur because it's an ice world. And PETA's really upset about those plastic miniatures
From that fictitious world.
from that fictitious world
Riding
38,000 years in the future, riding and using animals.
Yeah.
Not to mention Necrons that use human skin on themselves.
That's okay.
But,
That's fine.
But that's fine because
Yeah.
that's not animals.
No.
Well, because humans can, in theory, defend themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure giant dire
passionate-
wolves cannot defend themselves.
No.
Right.
Clearly not.
Clearly not.
Space Marines that can ride them as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was real dumb today.
Yes, it was.
All right. Well, that wraps up news on a lighthearted, ridiculous note. We've got a few Kickstarters to talk about, don't we?
A nightmarish amount of Kickstarter.
So we'll work up to the big ones.
Yep.
One we've mentioned in the past, Tao Long has 3 days to go. It funds on Friday. So you've got basically about 48 hours from the time this episode airs to get in on this one. It's the one we talked about. It's a 2-player abstract where you're kind of moving dragons around a board. There's portals where you can warp through and stuff, and you're trying to take out your opponent's dragon. The components still look really great. They've added 16 stretch goals, and the base package is $18 for the retail version, which is not bad for a 2-player abstract Kickstarter game. So
they have 2. I think they've, like you said, 16 stretch goals. I think they just have 2 left, and they'll probably hit that before the end of it.
Yeah.
So it should be fully stretched out, like a nice pair of jeans.
or like a nice long dragon slithering along the board.
Yep.
Another one that I'm interested in here that I don't know how interested other people really are. And by other people, I mean Zach and Jeff, because they're not into these kind of games. But Import Export has 21 days to go, but it is super funded. It's at 34,000 of its 6,800 goal. They describe it on their Kickstarter as Glory to Rome meets Container. I don't know much about Glory to Rome other than I know that it is popular. I would like to play it at some point.
You know that it's a game.
It is a game and it exists. Container, however, is a game that was just barely off my anticipation list because I didn't do reprints, but it's getting reprinted this year. It's an economic game that looks kind of interesting. So this one is a 2 to 6 player card game that's supposed to play in 30 to 60 minutes and be kind of a cool economic shipping back and forth game, which intrigues me. And it looks portable, like it's just cards in a box. I don't know. I'm interested in it. There's still plenty of time, though, with 21 days to go. So if you're into economic type games and you like Glory to Rome and or Container, maybe check it out.
Yep, that was Import Export, right?
Yes.
So
Getting on to some of the new interesting ones. World of SMOG, Rise of
Moloch.
Moloch. It looks like it should be like Moloch.
I know, but it might be Moloch, but it's Moloch.
Yes.
So this is the newest one by Cool Mini or Not.
Yeah.
So this is another one versus all game where someone it's the overlord or whatever their steampunk equivalent is.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, this one looks to be more campaign based versus like the others that was more scenario based. And so it looks like you can actually make in the different campaigns you can make choices that are going to affect things later on. The minis look cool. If you like steampunk, it definitely fits that theme.
Yeah, no, it's super steampunky, which unfortunately turns me off. And I've also soured on Cool Mini's massive big mini games recently. It's got 67 hours left as of recording, which means that it funds on February 2nd, Thursday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time.
Yep.
So you'll have 36 hours once this airs.
Yeah. I don't think I'm backing it mainly because I have the others. I already have a one versus all game. And I want to save up for a Rising Sun because that's going to be the next one of theirs.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for that, I would have probably gotten it. So, and one thing I did like sort of is that their early bird special was the core game and like a sort of expansion thing. But so the just if you just wanted the core game, it was still cheaper than that. So,
Yeah, okay. I see that.
Yeah.
I will say the one thing that I will never really fault Cool Mini for, their minis look real good. Like
They're pretty cool, right?
Just looking at some of the minis from this game, I don't like steampunk as a theme, but the minis look awesome.
Yes.
So never will fault them for that. All right, next up on Kickstarter, Yukon Salon. Zach, this is one that you mentioned to the group.
Yes.
So how much tell us a little bit about
this is the Beary Hairy Game. So basically, it's a short card game about giving bears haircuts and giving beard cuts to lumberjacks.
Okay.
All I know is I saw the art and I saw a bear that had a Super Saiyan haircut, and I was like, I'm in.
I'm in.
I think it's $15.
$15 for the base pledge. One copy of Yukon Salon and all stretch goals.
So when cause I saw that there was a link for like you can get 2 of them, and it's like you can play up to 8 players then. And so I even messaged the guy and I was like, hey, is it better with 8 people? And he's like, I mean, we haven't technically figured out the rules yet. And I was like, okay, then I'm just gonna go with that 1 to 4 players. But yeah, I don't know. I just like the art. It looks
Goofy.
Yeah, it looks goofy, and it's supposed to be pretty quick. And I think I think there might be some sort of social aspect to it too. I'm not sure. It was a little vague in the Kickstarter, but for $15, I'm in.
Yeah, the thing I really like is I can already tell looking at it that the haircuts for the bears and the beards for the lumberjacks are interchangeable.
Yes, they are.
So it's funny seeing some of these lumberjacks with weird haircuts and then looking at a different picture where it's a bear with, instead of that being a beard, is the hair.
Yeah, there was I saw one that was a lumberjack with pigtails as a beard.
Yeah,
it looked pretty funny.
So,
when I first saw this on Twitter, I messaged the people and I was like, "Why the hell is this a game? And why was it not created sooner?"
All right.
Did they give you an answer?
Yeah. And then they're just like, we've just been working on it for a while and stuff like that. And then it was going to be on Kickstarter. And I was like, well, I definitely wanted to talk about that then. So we have talked about it.
Yeah. So it's got 25 days to go. It is just barely pledged. It's at 5,700 of the 5,000 goal.
Yeah.
So it's pledged. It's good. The art is pretty interesting here. And yeah, I like the idea of having bears with the same haircut as lumberjacks' beards. So
Yukon Salon.
Check it out.
A Beary Hairy
Game.
And that brings us over to Delve, which is another one.
Indie boards and cards.
Yes. It is their 32nd Kickstarter, apparently, I think, or 33rd.
23rd.
23rd?
By Travis.
Oh, okay. So
maybe they have other.
there was one I was looking at that it combined both of those, but still, either way, it's still a lot of Kickstarters. And I've backed a lot of theirs.
Yeah.
They tend to do good stuff. So I watched a playthrough of this, and it seems like it has the tile placements like Carcassonne, but there's actual and you can technically put workers on spots, but instead when you're how in Carcassonne you're like, oh, I'm just going to put my worker here and try and leech off that area.
Right.
This one is just like, I'm going to fight you for it. So it's actually like when it closes off, any workers that are like on that line or in that space, you fight for it, and you get whatever is there, but the loser gets some things too. And there's some like story encounter things, sort of like, what did he say? It was Carcassonne meets Eldritch Horror or something, in the sense that it had like these flavor texts of if you don't fight anybody for it, it's like, oh, you see a treasure chest in the center, and then there's like another adventure going on. Do you like agree to share it, or do you sprint and try and get it? And you get 2 outcomes based on which one you choose.
Okay.
So
yeah, this looks like something that like I've gotten bored, I'd say, with Carcassonne. I like it. I still like it when I play it. Like, I don't hate playing it, but I don't ever want to play Carcassonne. This looks pretty interesting. Oh, there's dice. Fuck dice. No, I'm just kidding.
No, there
are dice.
There are there?
Yeah. It comes with 9 custom dice.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But that's whatever.
But yeah, no, it's got like encounter cards. You have unique factions, so maybe a little bit of asymmetrical play based on the factions having some abilities. Looks pretty cool. That this was kind of the first time I'd really heard much about it when you mentioned it to me.
Yep.
It is funded. 59,000 of the 30,000 goal, and it's got 15 days, so roughly 2 weeks from when this airs. And base pledge is $38 to get the game,
and 45 for the full
the expansion.
Yeah,
which adds like close to double the amount of encounter cards, and couple other things, but mainly the encounter cards.
And it's supposed to deliver by June
Yes.
of this year.
Which, yeah, if, and one thing I always like with them is that if it ever comes at around the same time as a con, so they're like, we hope to release it around Origins. One thing I always like is they're like, so if you'd like to pick it up at Origins, don't back this. We're just
come and buy it.
Yeah, just get on our email, and then we're gonna send them an email out 2 weeks before. It's like, hey, who's planning on picking this up? And then they'll have that amount, and it has all the Kickstarter stuff with it.
Yeah.
One thing I really, really like about Indie Boards and Cards is pretty much all of their games are the right mix of in-depth enough to be interesting, but light enough to be accessible. So they work great at our game night.
Yes.
There's a lot of indie board and card games that get played at our game night.
I don't even know how many times we've played Coup or The Resistance and brought people into the hobby with those.
Both of those two games and a lot of other indie boards and cards games run like wildfire through our game group. Like somebody will bring one copy, and then there'll be one game where we'll play it, and I swear everybody who plays it who doesn't own it immediately orders it, and the next week there's like 6 versions of it there, and it just goes nuts.
I remember introducing Coup to it, and then I saw like 3 or 4 people start picking up, and then when the expansion was having its Kickstarter, I was like, hey guys, I'm going to be putting it in on this, and you can add extra ones, so let me know if anybody wants in there. I ended up, it was almost $300.
Wow.
For like it was I think 8 copies of the expansion and the base game, and an additional 4 copies of just the expansion, and then somebody also had just the base game too, and it was just
It's a lot of coup.
Yeah, it was.
So we are very happy with the new boards and cards
Yes,
over
we are.
at our game night group. So that's Delve by Indie Boards and Cards. Got 2 weeks to get in on that. Check it out. And that brings us to Gameland Games, Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. Just came out a couple days ago.
Yes.
And initially
Relaunched.
They took it down and
Yeah,
relaunched?
so they took it down and rejiggered some things and then put it back up. Like they originally had a stretch goal for an ogre that was like 500,000, and then they realized really soon on, they're like, we may not get that. We may not get that as fast as we thought, so they moved it down to 360,000.
Yeah, well, they're on pace to get that real quick.
Yes.
No, the biggest thing that I've heard about with this game is so it's by Gameland Games and Scott Alms, which is known for Tiny Epic.
Yes. Yep.
And so they're relatively affordable, small box games.
I mean, I would say they're really affordable.
Very affordable.
Yeah.
I haven't followed a lot of their Kickstarters. I don't know how crazy you can get with add-ons and stuff.
It's like $24.
Yeah, it's $24, and I was actually looking at it, and they basically have like deals in place to where the best price you're ever going to get for the games are in their Kickstarters.
Yeah. So they're typically known for very affordable, small box-ish games that
can fit in your pocket is what they say.
And maybe.
They say like
they
a
say.
big pocket. Like you remember the Jinko game? Jinko jeans?
Sure, you could fit that in the pocket of a Jinko jean.
I think it's supposed to be a big game in a small box.
Yes, which is very true.
Which I would agree with, yes. And now this is a big game in a big box. And, initially, what was it, Jeff, like $100?
$100.
$100, and that's
It's a $100 miniature board game.
but the MSRP was $120.
Yeah.
And I was immediately like, never mind.
Yes, as was I, because I watched
a lot of people on Twitter were also.
I watched. Well, the problem is that a lot of the previews used little standees, like cardboard standees that still had art on them, and I think it's because they were like supposed to be like prototype, and the map was smaller because it's supposed to be 9 inches bigger than the prototype ones they sent out.
Okay.
So when I was watching, I was like, "Oh, that looks cool," because it looks like a bigger version, deeper version of Tiny Epic Kingdoms.
Okay.
Because it's still a 4X.
And it's got all the same like colored areas.
Yes. But you just have more things that you can build into.
Yeah.
And so when I was looking, I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I was expecting like $60 for that, and then all of a sudden I see miniatures and a giant ass board, and then $100, and that's just for the base game.
There's like 4 different factions on top of that you can get expansions for.
And they had a deluxe version, which is painted heroes.
Yeah.
Not all the minis, just the heroes. Which, if you got the full one of that, it was like $220.
$220 for the max pre-paint craziness.
Yeah.
Which
Deluxe Core Plus is that tier level.
Which was, I mean, like obviously people that can afford minis, like they usually pay that amount because like what the Kingdom Death Monster average thing was $643.
Something insane.
Yeah. So, but there were a lot of people, like me included, that were just like, oh man, well we wanted this, but this is a lot. This is a lot, especially compared, and obviously it's not a tiny epic game, but still, jumping that much. And then so like I said, they adjusted the prices somewhat and reduced shipping a little bit to because a lot of people were complaining. And then eventually they were looking into it enough, and they decided to make a standee edition. No miniatures.
Which one thing that was interesting with that decision is, I'd been following not really following. I'd seen a bunch of conversation on Twitter and stuff where people had asked other Kickstarter game publishers, like, what's the logistics behind having a standee version and a mini version? And most of those designers were like, that's crazy pants. I would never do that. Like, if it was Dead of Winter group,
Plaid Hat.
I
like that we said that at the same time.
They went standees for their games. Versus like
miniatures.
Cool Mini and a bunch of other,
which is it's fine as long as the art, like as long as it has decent art, then I'm usually always fine with those. Like depending on the game, obviously, but if it has standees, like City of Horror has standees as well, it works just as well.
In theory, I like minis more,
but the cost is just.
But the cost is rapidly for me becoming prohibitive. I'm buying so many games lately that. I'd rather
you can't spend $100.
Yeah, I'd rather save the money and get some cool standees. And then because the problem is with minis, then I want to paint them, and that's time and money for the paints.
And nightmare.
Oh, I don't have that worry.
Yeah,
I just have people. Zach, you need to pay your minis. Well, if you do it for me, that'll work. Otherwise, I don't care enough.
But yeah, so the fact that they went ahead and offered both standees and minis, I think that's kind of huge.
They have been great with listening to people. Now, they did make the decision because I think they might have been expecting some people to, more people to back the standee ones once it came in. They still have like at least 130 backers for it through the various levels. But I think they were expecting more, so I think they're just keeping it with Kickstarter exclusive.
Yeah, the standee will be Kickstarter exclusive.
Just like the painted deluxe one. Yep. But so, if they add more factions, technically, you might get into a problem of like standee ones versus minis.
Yeah,
whatever. We'll cross that bridge when it comes.
Yep.
Yeah,
I just love when I first saw it, I was like, oh man, I just wish this was more affordable. And they were listening to the people, and they're like, all right, well here's a more affordable version. To me, that was immediately made me go, sweet. Then I'm going to back it.
Done.
Yeah. Well, so if the standee Core Plus, which is like the highest tier of the standees, is $110.
Yes, that's the one that I backed.
Yeah. To get the equivalent amount of stuff just with minis is $175.
And that's at more of a discount too. I think it's like you save $45.
The standees is at more of a discount.
Yeah. Wait. No, what I'm saying is like
they're the same.
Oh, they are the same. They're still $45.
Because the Core Plus with the minis is $175, which they say the MSRP is $225, so you save $50. Versus the standee Plus is $110 with an MSRP of $155. Oh, your savings is $45, so $5 difference. So yes, you save more. And then the standee one won't
exist anyways.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
I really like this from Gamenight Games. Like they do the same thing just now with their Tiny Epic Kingdoms, where like people are talking about like the size of the box, and there were going to be more stretch goals, and they're like, we don't know how we're going to fit any more.
Are you talking about Tiny Epic Quest?
That's the one, not Kingdoms. Kingdoms been out for a while.
That's the first one.
Tiny Epic Quest. But yeah, like, they listen to a lot of feedback from their backers and fans there. Like, Gamenight Games is kicking ass on the listening to the people who are giving them money thing.
Yeah, and like in Tiny Epic Quest, it was, we can't fit anything. So they actually looked at it and like, well, we'll just make all of the matte things double-sided and, make it harder on the other side. And that sounds like a lot more work.
Yeah.
But like I said, they're definitely my top 3 Kickstarter companies. That it's just like whenever they put stuff, it is a day one back. So
yeah, no, they are killing it.
They got a lot of my money at GenCon last year.
Yes, they did. I was there.
But yeah, Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea 25 days to go.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks from when this airs.
I think
back.
it's supposed to take an hour and a half to 2 hours.
What's its fulfillment-ish esque?
Sandy Core estimated delivery March of 2018.
Yeah.
So it is a long wait for this.
Yeah.
But
I'm guessing it's just they want to, especially with minis, there can be a
Buffer time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to get that buffer time. And then with standees, they basically have to be like, oh, because they're going to be different standees than the one you saw in the prototypes.
Yeah.
They're going to try and make it be like, oh, it's that person. Like, it's easier to see.
And then I wish more Kickstarters would do things like if there's even a chance of really long delays and everything, just estimate it way the hell out. Because then you set that expectation. There's one of the best things that I've learned in my life when it comes to dealing with people and things like this is you got to manage expectations. And if you do that from the start, then you're good. So like if a Kickstarter, they set their expectation way out there, then people expect that. That's what they're expecting. And so if it takes that long, then great, people expected it. If it comes sooner, then holy shit, I wasn't expecting this. This is awesome. And then if you set it way out ahead, then if it gets delayed past that, like, I mean, that'll suck. But in theory, you set it far enough out that even you're accounting for delays, setting it way far out. Versus places that are like, oh yeah, we're going to deliver this, this Kickstarter wraps up in January, we're going to deliver it in June, and then it gets delivered in December. Then people are livid. They're like, we were supposed to get this game 6 months ago. What the fuck? Overpromise, underdeliver. Or under-promise,
Yeah, it's backwards.
overdeliver. Yeah. Manage expectations. That's the phrase I like.
Yeah, there you go.
Manage expectations.
Phrase I like, if glove don't fit, you must have quit.
Also, yes.
Sorry, I had watched the OJ Made in America recently. So,
But anyway, that's Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. And so check it out.
yep.
That covers all our Kickstarters, yeah?
That's it.
Speaking of Scott Alms and Gameland Games, we've got a review of one of their board games. All right, so this week we are going to be covering Tiny Epic Western. As we just mentioned, this is produced by Gameland Games, designed by Scott Alms. Artist is Adam P. McIver. It plays 1 to 4 players, and they say that it plays in 30 to 45 minutes. That will be a thing we talk about. Zach, do you have a rules breakdown for us?
Yeah. So this worker placement game has you and your opponents vying for power in the Old West. So over a series of 6 rounds, you will be placing workers to gather resources, which are needed to buy buildings and also to fight duels. So when you place your worker, you get 2 choices. You can either get a worse immediate benefit or a better delayed benefit that you have to win a poker hand in order to receive. But when you place your worker down, the other players can actually invade that spot and try and fight you for it. And it's just called a duel. And if they win, they get to take it from you. So after everyone's placed their workers, you'll then have a poker hand showdown at each location, and the winner will be receiving extra resources. You can then build an available building at your location, but if you do not, then you get to turn up a 3rd worker that you will then be able to use in the next round. So the winner of the poker hand at the town hall at the end will also get to choose to advance 1 of 3 industries, which will be able to score you bonus points at the end of the game. At the end of the game, you're just going to count out your victory points from buildings, points from the industry tracks, and the wanted card that you get for dueling, and whoever has the most wins.
Right on. Yeah, so that's Tiny Epic Western. Like I mentioned at the start, they say it takes 30 to 45 minutes,
Yes.
and I think that it could if everybody just pretty much chose. Like on your turn, you just choose.
Dump.
If people stop to think about it at all, it slows down.
I'll say that if you AP, then these types of games can take longer. That is correct.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, if you figure just doing their math, they say it takes max time 45 minutes. So we just played a 3-player game.
Yep.
That would be 15 minutes per player, right? There's 6 rounds, which means that each player in their given round has like, what, a minute and a half?
Yeah. I mean, so it's also dependent on how many duels, too, because those can take longer.
Duels can take longer if you have more than...
I'll say 45 minutes to an hour. I would say that would be a better time frame, because it took us about an hour to play.
I felt like it took longer than that. No? Was
It's just
an
'cause-
hour? It felt real long.
Yeah.
The most recent game especially.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so the game...
So the game. No, so let's start off here with components. I like the components
Yes.
in this game. The Now, an important note, we are talking about the Kickstarter version, so there are a couple things that we'll make note of. Namely, I'm going to start with the dice. In the retail version, there are just 2 dueling dice. So if you're dueling somebody, you each take 1 die and you just toss them.
And I think they're actually colored off of like bullet casings, like the copper.
Kind of brass.
Yeah, brass color. Whereas these are actually colored based on the player.
Yeah. So
They're also bullet shaped.
So they're a barrel that you kind of roll. Do a barrel roll.
Yeah, and they do have... God damn it. All right, there's one for you, Adrian.
I'm going to hang myself during this podcast.
But they actually do have the normal dice distribution of both, like the opposite sides add up to 7. And during the Kickstarter,
I was just gonna say,
they
Game One
actually
Games listening.
they had it 1 through 6, and enough people were like, "Hey, you should have it be like dice, regular dice." And
6
they're
and
like,
1 and 5 and 2.
"Okay, fine, we'll do that." And then they had a bunch of people test it, and they're like, people are like, "Oh, this, it seems fine." It's not. You're not going to be like, I wanted to play craps with these bullet dice, or, something like that.
No, definitely not.
There's plenty of barrel shaped dice out there.
Yeah.
I do wish they had added something for like if it ends like in the rules it just says if the bullet ends up on its back and sticking straight up, it's just reroll. I wish they'd come up with something special for it. Just to make it, because it doesn't happen that often. Like we sat there for a while. The second time that I played this, I was teaching it to a bunch of new people, and they immediately saw these bullet dice and they were like, what if it ends on the end? And I was like, oh, you just re-roll. And they're like, what? That's bullshit. It's going to happen all the time. And they sat there and threw the dice like 40 fucking times, and it didn't happen.
Were they saying like you should? Because I remember
some people were saying instant win.
Yeah, which think about how pissed you would be, Adrian, if
I wouldn't actually. If it was something like that, no.
Well, no. What if you're like
cool?
No, if you rolled a 6 and you like when you're going in, you knew you were going to win because you had like +3 power. You're like, no matter what, they can't win, and then they just roll that, and you're like, oh, I instant win. You would.
If I knew going in that was an option, that they could still win on a rolling it and having it come up standing on its end. If I knew that going in, it'd be one thing. If you had taught me the game and you taught me all the rules for rolling,
except for that,
and then you rolled that and you're like, oh yeah, by the way, the rules say that if that happens, I instant win. Then I would be livid because I would have thought I for sure won. If I know that's a almost guaranteed win, it's different.
Okay. I mean, that's what you're saying now.
But I'm not saying I think it should have been an instant win.
No, I know.
Something like, you re-roll it, but you get one resource of your choice or something. You get 1 gold maybe. So it's not one that lets you get more re-rolls by doing that. You just immediately re-roll it and you get 1 gold. Something like that would have been kind of neat.
Okay. I can see that. But
it's fine that it's not there, but otherwise I like the way the different locations are kind of shaped to where you put them in a little ring around the table and then there's space between them for the cards.
Well, it's supposed to look like sort of like a wagon wheel when you put it all together, and it does look like that. And if you got a ruler out, you'd be able to get it all completely flush. I think you would.
I'm not convinced,
but there's not nearly enough time.
It still works really well, and I like the way it looks on the table.
Yes,
I like that you always have all 6 locations. And this is getting a little bit more into gameplay. But basically, all the player boards, they have the one side is the player color. But then if that player's not playing, you flip it over. And on the other side is a generic, the brown color for like the city.
It scales, It's nice.
Which is pretty cool.
It is. I always appreciate a game that scales with the amount of people that you're playing.
Yeah. The meeples are, pretty standard.
Cowboy meeples. They're posse.
They're big.
They're posse. Thank you very much.
Posse meeples.
The posse meeples. I like the little tokens for the 3 tracks.
Like all Tiny Epic games.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. Those 3 fucking tracks that they always have. Yeah.
All of them got it.
This time it's law, force, and money. But yeah.
But the pieces that you use to track those are cool little pieces. They're easily identifiable at a glance, what they are and what they aren't.
The wanted piece from the Kickstarter.
Yeah, so the Kickstarter exclusive one is...
it's so cool.
It is. It's actually clear. So, the regular one... It's just a card. It's just like a wanted poster, and when you become wanted, you just get that card and you just put it next to you. For this one, though, because it's clear in the center, you get to put it on top of your character, and now it looks like your character is wanted, which is a great touch.
Yeah.
Which I think was also something that they heard from the Kickstarter people.
Unfortunately, it's a Kickstarter exclusive. It's
Yes.
not for everyone,
Yep.
which is too bad because I think that is one of the coolest little component things that they've got going for them.
I like all the poker cards,
Yes.
poker S cards. It's only 1 through 5 and a bunch of made up suits, but I like you can still sort of play.
They actually sell that plane like those
As a full deck.
as a full deck, which I bought. But then I was like, oh sweet, I can play euchre, and I was like, oh wait, they're all 4 made up suits, so you have to do a little bit of work to be like, oh, this is this and this is this or whatever.
Yeah.
But I should be able to play with cribbage, which is my go-to. So
Yeah, you could do cribbage.
you don't need to know any specific suit,
Oh, because it's just jacks and
and they're matching. So
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I do like that in the game, both the location deck and the card deck for the components, the back of them, they look like the back of regular cards, but they added a little bit of like faux stain, so they look like some old
Yeah.
West Tavern cards that are kind of like
Yeah.
grossed up and a little bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Which is a cool touch.
It is. They do a great job with their art and making it like, work with the theme. So.
Absolutely. So rules. Yeah, let's do rules and rule explanation. The game's interesting to teach. I mean,
It didn't help the first time we were teaching it. I was losing my voice, and there was a bunch of loud people, so I was like screaming, which just made it worse. And then we moved halfway. It can be a little confusing to teach, just because there's like a lot of little steps that you have to do instead of, it's not like, oh, here are the big steps, and then you just sort of narrow down from there. It's like, you got to do this, but like this, and then this, which was also this and this. And so if you forget, I know 1 or 2 times, like I forgot to mention something, and then we're like halfway through the game, we're like, so what are we doing this? I'm like, let's look it up.
well, and I know like when I taught it the second time I played after you taught me, I read through the rules a little bit and kind of tried to refresh and everything. But like one thing that the 4 people that I was teaching, or the 3 people that I was teaching, because I was the 4th, that they were taking a little bit of time kind of catching on to was the immediate effect versus the delayed bonus effect.
Yeah.
And how those two related together. And then some of the other spaces where, like on the sheriff's office, where you can go up and down on the number or up and down on the suit, and those are like distinct
spots. Yeah.
And so people are a little confused sometimes, and maybe I just didn't do a good job of explaining. This is one spot, this is another spot, this is another, and if you're in the same spot, regardless of what side you're on, you duel.
Well, yeah, that's one thing, is it has a worker spot, but then it's like you're leaning. It's like I'm going to lean to the left or lean to the right, but you're still like, it's what is it? It's like all the oxen for like tag and stuff. You're like touching it, but you're leaning, and you're like, but I'm still good. I'm still on it, sort of thing.
It's on the home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of confusion with that.
That's what it's called. It's called base.
I think once you get into the game, though, it's pretty. It's fine.
Oh yeah,
one round and you're good.
And that's almost where, like, if I taught this again, I would probably just be like, all right, guys, we're gonna play a quick round, and I will address things as they come up, because all of those things will come up in a trial round with new people. I feel like, but overall, the rule book itself, I think, is pretty well laid out. I can't think of anything that I had trouble finding answers for.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of their games, they've been good with their rules, and like I think this one is definitely a step up in complexity to Galaxies and Defenders and Kingdoms. So there was a little bit that you had to grapple with there, but I think otherwise it's like, because this is like what 2.77 on
complexity.
Yeah, on complexity, where Galaxies is like 2.23 or something like that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about gameplay a little bit.
Okay. So the thing about this game is there's a lot of spinning plates that you have to think of every time you take an action, because you have to think of the poker cards that are on the area. You have to think about if you're doing an immediate or secondary action, if you're doing it on the porch, what your hero power is, what cards that you might be able to purchase for construction from that area, and what icons they have based on the scoring track.
Yes. Yeah, the placement is paramount in here, because there's a bunch of poker cards around the area, and so basically, if you don't take the immediate effect...
And you have one card yourself.
Yeah, you have one card. You're going to get 2 at the beginning, and you choose one. But when you're choosing, you look around, because you basically make a 3-card hand. And so like the cards are numbered 1 to 5, 4 suits, like I think you guys said.
Yep.
But at the end of the rounds, there's a poker hand that happens at each spot. And there's basically rewards for if you win that poker hand.
Correct.
And so there's going to be some times where you're like, I want to go to that spot because I want that particular thing. But if I do, I have shit for cards. I have a 1 and the cards are a 2 and a 5. So I have a high card of 1. So anything's going to beat me.
Yep.
Whereas there's another spot that you're just like, it's not the best, but I've got a 3, 4, 5, and they're all the same suit. So I got a straight flush. I got the best hand in the game right there.
Yeah. And you're not even safe. Like, so you play, if 2 of you go to the same building, even if you're in separate actions, you're playing against that other person.
Yes.
But you're not even safe if you go somewhere on your own, because there is a face down card that's dealt to the house.
Yep.
The rival card, they call it.
Exactly, yeah.
And I know, like, Jeff, in your first play of this, the rival beat you like
Three
a
turns
rented
in a row.
mule.
Yeah.
I had 2 as well in this previous one. The previous one we played, where it's just like, as long as one card does not come out, then I win. And then the rival card flips. Oh, look, it's that one card.
The one card.
There was also, like, one of the times I even played, it was, I have a flush there, and I have the 5. I have the best flush as long as, like, because I turned the card from a 1 to a 5. And that's one thing I like, too, is that when you're changing the values or the suits, it's a circle. So it's like, if you have a 1 and you go down, it goes up to a 5.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I was like, as long as the actual 5 of hats
Yes.
doesn't come out, I'm fine. And it flipped over, and it was the card of hats, and I was just like, son of a bitch. The worst feeling is when you see the rival have your card, but in a higher suit. Because you're like, well, I lose everywhere. Son of a bitch.
There was multiple times where I lost to the rival with like the literal one card with the one suit that he could possibly have.
Yep.
And it wasn't just a number. It was that one fucking card.
It was, yeah.
Multiple times. Like, I guess I'm doing nothing this turn. Yep, guess I'm doing nothing this turn too.
So how do you guys feel about that?
I like it a lot.
I like it. It's interesting.
It's one, it's
a game
poker.
that,
It's like you're hedging your bets, because even still, because there's cheating in this game, so to speak, in the sense of you can change the cards. You're just trying to make the best hand you can. There's still going to be that, like, unless you have the literal best card in the game, for each of those spots, you're like, I have a 90% chance as long as this one card doesn't come out, and if it does, I was expecting that could happen.
Yeah.
So
I know, yeah.
for me, I like all of these mechanics. I like the emphasis on placement is key that we were talking about earlier. I think the poker hand thing is a cool mechanic.
In
I
theory.
think the dice rolling is a cool mechanic. Individually, when you put them all together, considering how important where you place is, but this is not a game, like you said, Zach, your placements are not guaranteed. And with the randomness introduced by the dice rolls if you're dueling and the rival hand if you're not, there was in the most recent game we played, there was a turn where I placed in 2 different places. I lost a duel to you, and then I lost to a bullshit hand from the rival.
Yep.
And so I got no resources for the whole turn, and I was able to do. I could do nothing. My entire turn was a wash. I might as well have not even done anything for that turn.
So
and that infuriates me.
when that happened, it's because I had placed in a spot because I wanted to go.
That's not even the turn I'm talking about.
Well, look, I had one where I lost both of the things too, and that's also where I was like, I think for me at least, except for those bullshit cases, then it's like sometimes I'll be like, if I don't feel like I have that strong of a hand, I'll be like, oh, I'll take the immediate benefit because there's a chance I just don't get anything, and if that one that you need is like so important, then it's like it might be worth it to get that versus maybe 2 in the future.
I don't know. I think like.
We do know how you feel about randomness, and this is
I'm not a fan.
And this is a sort of output randomness, especially like die wise. Yes, that's why. Yes, that's the right way to say it.
And I prefer input randomness, where you get something random.
You
and
prefer
then you
no
deal with
randomness,
it.
and then
I
input.
do prefer no randomness. Well, then I don't mind randomness, especially if it's like setup, like variable setup type things, where like you draw some random like colonists, the order that the random tiles come out at the beginning. Like, that's fine, because then when the game starts, the randomness, I mean, it's not entirely done in colonists, but most games like that, like, I get to see what the randomness is putting out and base my actions around what's
Yeah.
going to happen. And I'm
Yeah.
fine with that because then I react. I hate when it's like, oh, I'm going to make this decision. Through no fault of my own, I don't get to do anything at all now.
So I think I know one of the times that you not reacted poorly. You just did not.
I reacted
you did.
poorly. I was pissed.
I was in a spot where I was going to turn down a card, and you wanted to go to the one where you're turning up a card.
Yep.
And you dueled me for it.
Yep.
And so for dueling, it's you roll a d6, and one person is the winner, and one person's one person is winning, and one person is losing. So say I rolled a 5 and Adrian rolled a 4. He's technically losing right now. Then he can spend, if you're the defender, you can spend law, and then you can re-roll your die. And technically, you can re-roll as many times as you are able to. But also remember that is your resources for buying buildings, so you have to take that into effect.
And if you're the attacker, you can use force to re-roll.
Yes.
So you can re-roll depending on what you have.
And then you also can reveal your card to add a one-time bonus for that. And if you have 4 on your card, you can then add a 4 to it. And so there is definitely a risk of doing that early, because then everyone can know, oh, if he has a 4, then I know I can beat him here and here, so I don't have to worry about going there. And then also, if you have to duel again, you can't use your card again because you already flipped it over. So you flipped your card over to win, and then because I needed that one, because you can't go into the same spot that you were in unless if your other worker is standing up, because if you lose in a duel, you basically stand down, and the other person stands onto you. It's like a corpse. They're just walking over, like, haha.
As Ant said, they mount you.
Yes. Ooh, that's great. So then I attacked you again because I was like, I need this, and I had my card I didn't have my card.
It was a
flipped.
fucking 1.
It was a 1. Yeah, it was great because I was just like, as long as I get 1 higher than him, I'm great. And I ended up rolling a 6, which was like, hey.
Yeah, and at that point, I had spent and I was in the same boat. I needed that to go up 1.
Yeah.
So we both needed that spot. And because of arbitrary dice rolls and arbitrary card deals, that I had no way of knowing that you would. I mean, and if you hadn't rolled a 6, you'd have been screwed.
I mean,
you rolled the perfect roll and so nothing I could do. I needed that spot.
So here's
Just
the
like
thing.
you did.
All I'm saying is that the game, it's worker placement, but with the you can actually invade the other person. So a regular worker placement, you can't do that. So I feel that there is a risk of dueling someone because you can lose, or if you spend everything in order to make sure you win, it means someone can come. You are now weak because you don't have a card to flip over, and me or Jeff could then come in and take that from you.
And that's where this game lost me entirely. I was excited to play Epic Western, and we got 2 copies in the raffle because I messed up on buying raffle prizes. We'll talk about that later. But I'd heard really good things about this game. I'd heard that it was like this, small scale, short time worker placement, like cool game, and I love worker placement games. And so I thought about, when we had the 2 copies in the raffle, I thought about just buying the 1 copy out and using that money to put another prize in there so we had unique prizes. I am so glad I didn't do that. Because after 3 plays of this game, I don't know if I don't want to say I would not play this game again. Like, now I know what to expect from it.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go in with very low expectations. I will never take this game even remotely seriously ever again. There's too much randomness for me to. And
I don't know why you take any game seriously.
I take games seriously. I enjoy playing games, but I'm a competitive person.
No, I understand that.
That's why I like big, heavier games.
I enjoy this. I don't know.
And I heard that this was a game that was it. When I heard that it was a more serious worker placement with some cool mechanics. I did not realize how much random bullshit would break my worker placement strategies, and I could have a great strategy going into a round and 1 card flip and 2 die rolls later, I'm not doing anything in this round. And now, why did I play that round? Well, I could have just went in the other room and left my pieces on my mat. It would have made 0 difference. My being in that round affected almost nothing. And that is the worst thing in a game for me, when you feel like your turn did not matter. I don't know. There's so much that I want to like about this game.
Yep. Well.
Yeah, so that's gameplay.
Oh, well, not just that. There's also the industries thing, which is like a bit of stock sort of
And
thing.
it's another mechanic that I love. I like all of the mechanics in this game, just not together.
Well, no, I think if the dice weren't there, if it was something else, is that
the dice are the biggest problem. But even the cards, I mean,
Well, if it was just one of them, would you be okay? Would you be better with it? Is the fact that they're both there?
the dice I definitely don't want. The
Okay.
cards I'm more fine with because it's a little
There's
bit
still more odds
Or if
that-
it was 2 dice, because then you get the nice probability curve where you can roughly estimate. And yeah, sometimes you'll get screwed and you'll get a 2 roll, and then it's just like, oh well, that's just bad luck. It's real bad odds. When it's even chances of being a 1 or a 6.
Well, but then
and
I mean that's at the very least they allow you to re-roll or add numbers to it. It's not just we duel and I immediately lose. And there's also like one thing I do like is that if you decide to reveal your card, I then get to know. Oh, you revealed a 4. I know with my 1 I can't beat it, so I don't have to be like we don't. I get to keep that for later.
yeah.
So I like that aspect a lot.
Yep.
Do you have any comments on gameplay,
Yeah,
Jeff?
I had said it earlier, a lot of spinning plates and knowing there is a lot of, for how fast this game's supposed to go, there's at least 5 different points on each space that you're like trying to think about when you need to take it, because it's like, do I have enough to afford this place? Is this place worth affording? I need those icons. Do I
Yep.
need these materials?
I like though that the game does add if you can't buy a building or you choose not to, you get a third meeple, meaning that you get a lot better reach on your next turn. So
Yeah.
it's not a complete loss if you get a shitty draw.
Yeah. So while we're talking about gameplay, so everybody has unique players that you're playing as.
Yes.
The unique character with a unique power. And this is the other problem I have with this game. And
This one
is,
I will agree with you.
And this is where the combination of the problems I have with this game become deal breakers. The unique powers are so wild. They feel, at least to me, over 3 plays, wildly unbalanced. There are some people where their power is used every turn of the entire game. Like, my second playthrough of this, I was playing as the Rancher. And the Rancher's ability is you can spend 1 resource to pick up your third meeple. So every turn, every round, you get to have 3 meeples.
That's pretty nice.
And even if you just send that 1 extra meeple to a 1 resource immediate spot, you get the resource you spent on it back, and now you're in the poker hand for that turn. For if nothing else.
Yeah.
Which is hugely powerful. Whereas my ability in the most recent game, I used once, and even then it didn't actually matter.
I didn't use mine at all.
Yeah.
So the only time I could have used it, I didn't want to use it because I needed that worker in that spot. So
Yeah.
but like I said, I do agree with you on that. There's at least 4 Kickstarter ones. I think I might look in there because it plays up to 4. If I can prune 4 of them, because I think there are some that are definitely a lot less powerful than the others, like the 4 weak ones. And then so even if you're playing with a full 4 people, give everybody 2. If those 8 are better overall than the total 12, I think that might be a plus for the game.
Yeah, or even if you're, you could look and see, depending on how the balance feels, maybe take out the 2 worst and the 2 best. Like if there's 2 that are distinctly underpowered and 2 that are distinctly over, take those 4 out. But yeah, I agree. Like culling that player deck a little bit, because some of them are just, they seem useless.
Well, it's just they're too specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're like, if you do this and this and this, then you can get something good. But other ones are just like, oh, you pay a resource, you get a third worker. Okay, that
Must be nice.
Yeah, of course I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Or like in the game that I played over the weekend, Ant had, I think it was the Undertaker, where if there's a person who's down, you
Get resource.
You get resources for everybody who's down up to a max of 3 resources. 2 resources.
Yeah.
But yeah, so most in that particular game, now granted this will vary a little bit, and that it was a very aggressive game, there were always at least 2 people down.
Yeah.
So Ant just got 2 resources every turn because of his power.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
And I think that's something the players have to play. Like it's like in Terraforming Mars. I know I hate to reference it again.
No, that's not why that wasn't the look. Go ahead and reference your Terraforming.
When someone plays like the city corporation, everybody on the table goes, we probably shouldn't build that many cities because it's just going to help fuel them. So I think it might just be because people don't know.
Well, yeah. So like with that card that I was talking about, Ant's the Undertaker one, it's not like when I see that card come out, I'll be like, oh, well, I guess none of us should fucking duel.
Oh, no, not that. No, obviously not that. It's just you got to take that in mind. It's like, well, if I duel, Ant's going to be getting something from this. So it's something to take. It's something to take into account. Just like the what was it? The one you played where you just got +1 power in duels. The gunslinger.
Yeah, just
so it's like
permanent one.
Me and Jeff both had to be like, well, we need to go if we want to duel you. Then we need to be sure that we can, if we have good cards. Otherwise, we're just going to wait for you to come to us because defenders win ties. So if you get a +1 and you're the defender, it means we would have to beat you by 2 in order to win. Yeah. And so it's definitely something you have to take into account. So,
but I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about gameplay wise? I think I've talked about it enough.
When you win a duel, you get the wanted thing and you get a free resource. I don't think we mentioned that.
Yeah, so that's also something you don't want to give someone because if you have it the entire game, that's 6 free resources and it's 2 points at the end of the game, which can be pretty big.
Yep.
I do like that there is one spot that is you can buy another building and you basically just buy whatever's left.
Yeah.
But I do like that they're like, if you go there, you're just like, I don't want to do anything with that worker except buy another building because they have victory points and they'll get you more on the, a better chance on the industry. So,
yeah. I was the builder, so that was useful.
Yes.
So, final thoughts on Tiny Epic Western.
I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like it more or less than Tiny Epic Galaxies.
It's a lot easier to learn.
It is easier to learn. That is true. I really do like the follow mechanic in that game. Like that's the mechanic that I love the most about that game. And this one, I think it is the poker hands. In respect to worker placement, that not only it's like what you want, but it's also, do you think you can get this extra stuff by going to places that it's going to help that? I really do like that poker hand aspect. It's definitely more complex. I do feel like I was making, harder decisions, I guess, and it was less sort of random than Tiny Epic Galaxy since that had so many dice.
Many dice.
Yes.
So many dice.
Yeah. I like Tiny Epic Galaxies more.
That's fine. Yeah.
Something about I don't know if it's just the way that I went into that game with how many dice it has, and the way you toss them. It felt more like just a dice checker where randomness is going to be a thing that you just. Yeah. Whereas this one, I heard more about it being a good, solid worker placement, and I expected a tighter, less random game.
Well, is it also that it is direct interaction too? Because I know a lot of worker placements are indirect interaction.
No. And I love Dominant Species, which is very much direct interaction. It's one of my favorite Euros.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Dominant Species.
I definitely, yeah. Well, but I would say most of the Euros that I've played with you have been
that's just
indirect.
That's most Euros.
That's why I asked the question.
Yeah, no, that's just most Euros. I actually do like...
Well, because you said you couldn't do anything, and that part of it is because I was like, I'm going to stop you there.
Well, yeah, but it didn't feel like you stopped me because of superior play. It felt like you stopped me because you got good dice rolls when you needed good dice rolls. Especially on that last one, you had a 1 card. If you'd rolled anything but a 6, you would not.
I did have some things I could have spent to do it, but yeah.
There's been over the 3 games I played. There's been a couple times where I felt like I lost through no fault of my own. Not lost the game itself, but in specific instances, I played the best I could and I ended up with nothing to show for it. And I don't want a game to be like that.
What about the time spent with us and the camaraderie and all, No.
I really like it. I like the poker hands. I like the dual mechanics and stuff like that. But the decisions on where to place your guys is a little too heavy because you can totally screw yourself with certain things
if you don't take certain things into account.
Yeah. And there's a lot to take into account for every time you put one of those down.
Encourages AP, which makes the game run long.
Yeah.
Which for what it is and for the amount of arbitrary, if this game really played in 30 to 45 minutes, I would have no problem with it because I wouldn't feel nearly as screwed out of my decisions. It'd be like, all right, well, it's 30 minutes. All right, we can play twice in an hour.
Yeah.
45 minutes, we can play 2 times. At the beginning of a game night.
But there's 6 different data points every time you put down a worker that you have to read in that area.
The placement of your worker, and this is what you said earlier, Jeff, there's so much emphasis on placing your worker in the right spot that the randomness that can screw that placement and the time that the game takes to where you have to worry so much about where to place, it drags the game on. I think it's too long for what it is. I don't know. I'd be curious to play it again now that I've...
Yeah, I think you could get it down to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say I won't ever play it again because actually now that I am at this point where I don't care. I feel like I'm going to play a lot faster. Mm-hmm. And now, granted, I don't. If the other people aren't playing fast, then it's going to drive me nuts. For the same reason that other games that I feel like Great Western, I play Great Western really fast, and it drives me nuts that other people don't always play Great Western really fast. And I feel like that's where I'd be with this one. I'd play it quick because I wouldn't really. I'd be like, boom, all right, I'm there. All right, I'm there. And then have to like wait while somebody else is like, oh, if I go here, I can get.
I know for me, all of the thought of like what places do I want to go to is based off the cards that I draw.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, okay, I can go here, here, and there. Okay. Or this one I can go there, there. Okay, I'll get rid of that card and then I'll just focus on these.
See, but then I mean, you might as well play war. Like if what your card draw is determining what you're doing.
Well, no, all I'm saying,
hands.
I'm saying that a hands is like, okay, this card I'll be able to win here and here. Okay, so now I it's helping me eliminate choices.
I guess.
And it's also, remember, I'm very tactically minded where you are more strategic.
Minded. Yes.
So.
And I'm the wild card.
So,
juggling chainsaws, just wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, I feel like we're going in circles at this point, though. People probably know how we feel about this game. So, Zach, you like it?
I like it, yes.
I like
Jeff, you like it?
Yeah.
I am pretty solidly met on it.
It's random, so expect.
It's too random.
Yeah, for Adrian.
I don't
for
mind.
Adrian.
For me. It is too random for me. So yeah, that wraps up our review of Tiny Epic Western from Gamelink Games and Scott Alms. We are going to talk a little bit more. I was going to talk a little bit more about the anniversary party. Just to sum up, the anniversary party was amazing. It was our 4-year anniversary. I raised probably almost $1,000 worth of prizes from donations from local game companies and stuff. People bought over $500 worth of raffle tickets, and that contributed largely to that $1,000 prize pool. Everyone who entered the raffle this year got a prize. Mm-hmm. And some people, a very select few, got 2 prizes because enough people bought raffles at the anniversary that I was scrambling to spend that money. It's like, hey, Zach, I know you're in Georgia right now, but could you order 2 copies of Terraforming Mars?
Done.
Because we need 2 copies of Terraforming Mars for the raffle. Well, 1 for the raffle, 1 for me.
Yeah. I hope you didn't use the raffle fund.
I did not use raffle fund. I kept
I don't know. I just got one thing that just said raffle money and $98. So.
But no, it was a wild success. At one point, I think the peak I counted was 80 people there at one point. Talking to the bartender at the end of the night as I was closing out my tab, she was blown away by how much business they ended up having throughout the day. I know Barrels was very happy to have us there again for another one of our anniversaries.
I'm super depressed that I could not go.
I'm really sorry you couldn't go, Zach. I do wish you were there.
You moved it, and then you moved it back.
I know.
You moved it, and then you're like, fuck Zach, move it back.
We had all of that success with several regulars not in attendance. Yep. You weren't there. Nick Lavolo wasn't there.
Other Nick wasn't there.
The Andrasics, both of them were not there.
Yep.
So yeah, it was.
Jeff had to pull a lot of strings to get there.
So many strings.
Yep.
So many strings. Like a puppeteer.
Yeah. That's what they call me at work, the puppeteer.
But no, it was an absolutely amazing time. I am blown away consistently by how our game night group has grown over the years and the things that I managed to get them to do, come out on a Saturday.
The things I can make them do.
The day of the Women's March, when a good chunk of our game night group was at the Women's March, then left the Women's March to come play board games and drink beer.
Which had, 200,000 people or something like that?
An obscene amount of people.
I know at least a couple of people were like, I wanted to go, and then I got stuck in traffic for an hour and a half because of the march, and then they're like, I can't, they're just standstill traffic.
Yeah, and there were people that were wanting, people wanted to go to the march, they got stuck in traffic. People that wanted to come to game night, they got stuck in the traffic from it, because we were not far from downtown.
Yeah.
So it was impressive.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I would have done because I'm right near Civic Center.
Get there early. So, but no, it was amazing. Now I got to figure out what the hell I'm going to do for the 5-year anniversary to top the 4-year anniversary.
$1,500 in prizes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I can only donate so many games, Adrian.
I know, right?
Time Well Spent donated a bunch of games.
Time Well Spent donated.
Wizards.
No,
Black
Wizards
and Red
did not. Wizards did not donate.
Black and Red did.
Black and Red donated.
There was another one.
No.
Wasn't Total Escape?
No.
What was the $30 one? Just like, here's a $30 game. It's a prize.
Well, so that was me because I had extra money.
Oh, okay.
However, Denver Central Games, the owner
yes.
came and talked to me at the end, and he was like, hey, those last few that you mentioned, get a hold of me. I would love to help, supply those at or near cost. So that'll be
So
huge.
great for them for doing that too.
Yes. Yeah, we gave away 40 different games, plus a bunch of pint glasses and shirts and other
Brewery tours.
Yeah, breweries gave out
$100
stuff.
value brewery tour.
Who was it? Diebold did that?
Diebold, yeah.
Diebold did that.
10
I know
10
Barrels.
person?
Barrels gave you some stuff. Fiction.
Yep.
So yeah.
Strange.
Yep.
Strange, Wits End.
Yeah.
A lot of our regular spots, at least the ones that I contacted. I'm sure that there are other places. If I'd really made an effort to go ask them, they would have. But I really only stuck to the places we go to in regularly. I didn't want to ask Black Sky, hey, we came in twice last year, give us donations. But I'm looking forward to the next year of board gaming with this group. It's been a fantastic group and has been hugely instrumental in my fun times here in Denver.
Yep.
So, all right, that's enough of that.
Emails.
We have some emails.
We got some emails.
So we have weeks of backlogged emails here.
just pages and pages of
I have
two
to read.
Yeah, from people that you might have heard from before.
Yep, it's pretty much all you same people.
Which is fine.
Yeah, it's
Everything's
fine. Everything's fine.
Our two main fans.
Yep.
First one comes from Mike, titled Terraforming Mars. So after your past few podcasts, I've decided to sell all my games and just buy Terraforming Mars. Okay, maybe I pre-ordered it, but I can't wait for it to come. Any thoughts on trays for player boards? It looks like there's two styles. Game trays, where the tray comes to replace the player board, and Meeple Reality. A couple different companies make these where they are overlays for the player mats. Zach really wants to talk, but I'm going to finish the email first. I'm planning I don't know, part one, part A, part B?
Part A, yes.
Part A. Go game trays.
Okay.
Don't get the overlays.
Okay, so they also, Broken Token just came out with a organizer and also overlay for it too.
No, it's not an overlay. It's a replacement.
Or a replacement, sorry,
Yeah.
it's a replacement. It's $50, and it looks amazing.
There's upgrades for the global parameters that are in there, and then first player tokens, a rocket.
Yes, it looks great.
There's actual component upgrades in there, which is really cool.
Yeah, 100% Broken Token.
Yes.
But if you don't want to spend $50,
Game trays.
Game trays. It was $5 for 5 trays or something, or it was cheap.
Yes,
it wasn't.
cheap.
It wasn't expensive.
It wasn't expensive. Yeah. If you want to go the full board, full Cadillac model.
Yeah.
Then it's the Broken Token. If you want to be a little bit cheaper while still it being functionally great.
Yeah.
Game trays.
I don't like the overlays.
Yeah.
I had looked at those for a long time until I saw the game trays.
Yeah. All right, part B of this email.
I'm planning a weekend at a cabin with some friends where we'll be pretty much just play board games for 2 days plus. Any tips on marathon board game weekends? We'll have 6 people, so I think we'll mostly play 2 groups of 3 with a couple larger games thrown in. I may have already created a spreadsheet so we can vote on the games we want to play the most. Good luck with the anniversary party this weekend, because this email was from January 18th.
Yeah, bye.
Stay hydrated with
Yeah.
beer, but not too much, because
Just get some natty ice, that's basically
God damn it,
water
Jeff.
anyways.
No.
That's a good way to hydrate yourself, right?
Mike lives in Colorado. He has access to good beer. So it sounds like you're already on the right path, Mike. From what I heard, I wish I dropped the ball. I meant to actually get a hold of you through email to find out maybe a little bit more about this spreadsheet list. But if you're already doing that, you got a spreadsheet, people can chime in and start planning some games out. That's the way to do it. I find that my best gaming weekends away have involved gaming weekends away. There's been a couple times where I've been hey, I got a whole weekend free. Let's play a lot of games. And then I end up sitting on my couch watching a lot of Netflix while
it's
my
a great
friends
way to
don't
spend
come
it.
over.
Yeah.
But if you all go away for a weekend, take a lot of games, and then you're right there, and it's a little bit easier to...
I would also
pull that
probably
off.
say avoid long player elimination games.
Yes.
Because if it's just you guys and then one person is just sitting out for a couple hours, it's it might not be as good for them.
Correct.
Some
But
4-player Magic the Gathering, immediately eliminate someone, and then play for another 2 hours.
Oh, God.
Well, if he's got 6 people, then yeah, play 4-player while 2 people play Santorini. And then as soon as somebody's eliminated and the other people finish their quick game of Santorini, then you have a 3-player game of something else that's awesome.
Santorini.
Like Terraforming Mars or Santorini. No, but I think that, yeah, splitting into a couple 3-player games here and there is a good idea, but then also mixing in some like 6-player party games.
Do Game of Thrones. That would be a great one.
God, I love Game of Thrones.
It's perfect. Like, it is made for 6 players.
Play it at the end of the weekend so that if you want to murder each other after all the betrayal and backstabbing, you just go home.
And it's also one that will last 4 to 5 hours if you want it. So you will be good.
Yes.
Never free Ned.
Sums that up.
Yep.
Email number 2 comes from Chris, titled An Email. Hey guys, just wanted to let you know that I really like the new format of talking about 2 or 3 related games. That way you can talk about new stuff and compare contrast to stuff that people are currently playing. I'm not sure how far out you plan episodes, but could you mention games that you're going to review an episode in advance? Then people could send you their thoughts for you to use if they were worth reading. Love the show, Chris.
So, as always, Chris, you seem to remain just a step ahead of us here. We do, in fact, plan episodes out. We've been running a week or 2 in advance, and we've been wanting to plan that even further out so that we can really plan our game days around things we want to talk about.
Because there's been at least a couple where we're like, oh, we're reviewing this on Monday, and we need to play it like 2 times before then.
Yep. So we sat down before this episode and we really banged out a nice little upcoming list. All right, so we're recording this episode on Monday, January 30th. The next episode will be recorded Monday, February 6th, and that's going to be Robinson Crusoe. I believe that we are going to have my girlfriend Megan join us for the discussion on that one. She has played pretty much every game of Crusoe that I have played, and I think most of the ones that you've played, Zach.
Yeah.
And then Jeff will be our interesting counterpoint because
you've played it before, though, right?
Oh, yes.
Just not with us.
Yeah. It'll be great if you're just like, you guys have been playing it totally wrong this entire time.
Playing Crusoe wrong? That could never happen.
It's real time, right? That's
it's competitive, right?
Sure. Following Robinson Crusoe.
I was just going to say we are going to be talking about the there's a new edition out, so we're going to talk about what the changes are in our copy versus the new one. So.
Yes. Then in order, we're going to talk about Energy Empire coming up, Manhattan Project, Energy Empire. We're going to do a little bit of comparing and contrasting that to the original Manhattan Project. Then we are going to do an official duel episode, Chris. Like you said, you like those kind of compare and contrast games that are similar. And that one, we're going to do Seven Wonders Duel, the 2-player game, and then the original Seven Wonders. And then we're planning currently on rounding out the month of February with Arkham Horror LCG. Further on down the line, and this is subject to change a little bit out there, we're looking at Gallerist. We're looking at Fury of Dracula. We're looking at Power Grid, the original board game, and the card game. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get those up on the Guild. We're going to continue to work at being more active on our Board Game Geek Guild, especially posting upcoming episodes and things exactly for what you said, so that those of you who listen can chime in with your thoughts and concerns and questions about those games and hear what we think about them.
And then Gloomhaven. Sometime,
Yes.
maybe
Some point.
April.
End of March, beginning of April, sometime around then.
Well, we'll probably have some impressions. I mean, that game. Who knows how long that game actually can be?
No. All right, so hope that answers both of your questions, Mike and Chris. Thank you, as always, for your emails. We really love hearing from you guys. Any of the rest of you who listen to this podcast, feel free to email us. Jeff, what's our email?
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can also get a hold of us. We have Twitter accounts. I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I'm Zach_MHGG.
And I'm Jeff_MHGG.
We are also on the Instagram and the Facebook and the BGG. And you can find us on all of those by searching Mile High Game Guys.
There's only one, and it's us.
Yes.
Yeah. As always, thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate hearing from you guys. If you enjoy the show, please jump over to iTunes, Stitcher, whatever your app of choice is, and give us some ratings. We like ratings, don't we, guys?
Hot ratings.
Hot ratings.
Yeah, no lukewarm ratings.
Yeah, only hot.
Only hot. Hot. Or super cold. It's like
We want
treat it
all or
like
nothing.
coffee, either iced coffee or warm coffee or hot coffee. No
lukewarm.
No room temperature coffee.
Yeah.
But no, thank you guys for listening.
That's what they serve in San Francisco at those hipster coffee places.
Oh, God. We have listeners in San Francisco. Hopefully they're not
Yeah.
lukewarm coffee drinking.
No, it's because it's $18 a cup there.
Artisan made.
Thanks for listening, guys. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Cowboy Jeff. Woohoo!
Bye.
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 The rival is one of two things.
it's the house.
Let's talk about the rival now.
Okay.
It's
Well, okay. Then we have to talk about the poker hands to introduce the rival.
Yes. So we can talk about worker placement first.
Oh my god.